Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden and welcome to my January back garden tour. I want to apologize for last week. For those of you who regularly watch my channel, I was MIA absolutely all week, and that is because both my daughter Sadie and I got hit really bad with the flu. Like really bad with the flu. And so we were just absolutely knocked out. Jason was so great, and he actually put a couple videos up on the channel. So if you missed those, make sure you check them out. And thank you, Jason, for doing that.
You're welcome.
He was doing that as I was knocked out, even editing and everything. So huge thank you to Jason for keeping the channel going. And I do have a cough drop in because there's absolutely no way that I could talk and do this whole back garden tour without a cough drop. So I apologize about that. So today, Monty and I want to show you all the January back garden. I'm a little late with this video. I was supposed to get it out last week. But the garden is actually looking really great for January. I'm so happy with how everything's going. We got so much rain in the late fall, early winter that everything seems to be really happy. Now I'm kind of concerned because we've had like no rain since January. My goodness, bud, you okay? You okay? I swear, we pressed record on the camera and then he just...
Yep.
Right?
Every time.
He's like perfectly calm and relaxed. And then as soon as we press record, we get this.
So, what do they call it? Main character energy?
Main character energy. Yes. Monty, you definitely have main character energy. So ever since January, we've actually had barely any rain at all. And we don't have any rain in the forecast. So things are kind of starting to dry out as it usually does. I've actually noticed some wilting on my plants, and that's even with the drip irrigation going a little bit. And so I've bumped up the drip irrigation just to make sure that the plants are going to survive. It's always a hard thing during the winter time here in California because we get a lot of rain sometimes, and then sometimes we get absolutely no rain. So it's just something that you really have to pay attention to, and really don't get frustrated about it because we're all dealing with the same issues. So I definitely want to get started over in the secret garden because I feel like I've been neglecting showing you guys that space during garden tours. So let's go get started over there. So over here on the north side of the house, this is what I call my secret shade garden. And it's not technically a shade garden because we do get some hot sun over here during the summer. But somebody messaged me and said that I should still call it my secret shade garden anyway, because it's a secret for why I actually say that, because there's not always shade. I thought that was really funny. So, and I call this my secret shade garden in my mind anyway. So therefore it's the secret shade garden. The big thing here is that we got this fence reinforced this past month. It was bad. It was falling over. We know we have to get our entire fence replaced. We have about an acre property and the fence is on its absolute last leg, but we have so many other things that we want to do. And you know, fencing, it's so kind of boring, especially for this type of fence, which is really just to keep the goats, out of our yard. And so it's, it's something that we know we have to do, but it's just going to be such a big project. So Jason and I decided that for this part of the fence that was literally falling over, we decided we were just going to shore it up. And so we had someone come and kind of put new, put new posts in, and now it's a really strong fence. It's not the most beautiful thing still, but it's functional and it's going to last us at least until we're able to replace the entire fence. So I was really happy with that. If you look down at the bottom here, we had to come and we had to touch up some spots with the stain. And I don't know what I was thinking, but this is not the same stain as this. I get a lot of questions about what color stain this is. And this is called Bare Slate. And it's a wood stain. And I love it. I used it at my last house. It's black, but it's not a total black. And that you can see because I just got a stain of black paint. This is the stain that I used to stain the table in my greenhouse. This is like a pure black. And you can really see the difference. I asked Jason the other day, I said, why do we have watermarks all over our fence out there? And he told me, no, that's the touch-up stain that we did. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do about that, how we're going to fix that.
I'm not sure.
I
Yeah,
just
that was not. That was kind of a brain fart.
Oh, I just was not thinking clearly. So yeah,
Me either.
I'm so frustrated. Look at how like
It doesn't. Yeah. Well, once those begonias grow up, you won't see it anymore.
yeah, sure, right? I'm just so frustrated. Like, why did I do that? Anyway, so the fence is good. I'm happy about the fence. And then I also cleaned up this back area back here and cut back all these surefire white begonias. And even since I've cleaned them up, they've sprouted new leaves, new foliage, and they're looking really good. I love this plant. Surefire begonia is just such a good plant. I just love it so much. I can't emphasize enough what a good plant it is and what a difference is compared to the other begonias that you'll find at the garden center, like just the kind of generic kind. This is through Proven Winners. I've planted the other kind. I actually had a neighbor at my last house who wanted the look of the Surefire begonias and asked me what they were. I told him, and he went out and he got one of those 6-packs of begonias, just bedding plants. And he was all frustrated because they didn't look like mine. And that's because it's the Surefire variety. And so I'm just really happy with that. That seems to be bouncing back a lot. Over here on this side, I have my heuchera here that's just looking beautiful. Here in zone 9, heuchera is actually an evergreen, and so it'll keep its foliage throughout the season. It's not the brightest thing. It's not the thing that's really going to catch your eye, but it's nice to have some type of evergreen foliage, especially like this rose color. I think it's really, really pretty. So that's looking really good. And then behind it, I have my false hydrangea. No, is this the true hydrangea? No, this is the false hydrangea. I always get confused with that. There's a true climbing hydrangea and there's a false hydrangea vine. And this is the false hydrangea vine. And you can see it actually started to start growing up last season. I'm really excited about that. And hopefully it will grow up more. The reason why I'm pointing out this area is because while I was sick, I was doing a lot of planning for the upcoming season and, the projects that I want to do and the videos that I want to film and the plants that I'm going to plant. And so one of the projects that I have on my schedule now is to install window boxes underneath these 2 windows and plant some recipes in there. And so I'm kind of going back and forth, Jason, between either a white window box or a black window box. I'm leaning towards a black, right? Do you have an opinion?
I was going to say white, but that usually means you're right.
No,
usually...
no. So let us know what you think. Black window box or white window box. I already know what brand I want. It's Maine, Mayne. It's the window boxes that we had at our last house, and we loved them. They were so fantastic. They're like this, plasticky fiberglass material.
Yeah, it's like a PVC almost.
Yeah.
But they're good.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're just like you just don't have to worry about them. And I know how to install them and I'm really happy. And they come in all these different sizes. So I'm really excited to get that project going. Like I want to do it now, but I'm going to be patient. I have it on my schedule. And so I have to order the window boxes now though. So I have to decide whether white or black. So I'd love those of you watching, I'd love your input on whether team white or team black. Anyway, and then I wanted to point out my evergreen clematis over here on this side of my living wall. It's looking just so beautiful. This is exactly what I was imagining. Can you see like the light coming through? And
it looks really cool.
Isn't that just gorgeous? And it's going to start blooming and it smells so good. I just love it. I just love this plant.
Really, it's already over the top of the arch.
I know. And this I can... I'll have to get a ladder. But yeah, so this is looking really beautiful over on this side. This has morning sun, but then over here on this side, Jason, if you want to swing around, they are not doing as well. And that is because this side gets evening sun, no morning sun, just all afternoon and evening sun. And that's exactly the opposite of what evergreen clematis or clematis armandii wants. And, but that's all I can give it over here. And I really wanted them to be matching, so I'm going to try and push it. I think that as it gets established, it'll get a little bit like more tolerant, right, of the hot afternoon sun. You can see this one's doing a little bit better, I think, because it's protected kind of from this stuff over here. This one's dead. I mean, maybe, I don't know. It might not be dead. I don't know. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to just hope that it bounces back in spring, but I'm not optimistic. So hopefully this side will kind of come over onto this side, because I really want these two living walls to be matching basically on either side. And then before we leave the secret garden, I wanted to point out my soft caress mahonia. This is the plant that I planted for my December blooming garden. It's obviously out of bloom now, but now we can see that the plant is doing what it's meant to do, which is be a foliage plant. And it's a really, really pretty plant. I'm happy that I planted it here. I think it's going to be really, really happy here. And then right behind it, right just about ready to burst, is my Pearl Maxwell Camellia from Nuccios. And for those of you, a lot of you have messaged me about Nuccios, and it just breaks my heart. If you all don't know about Nuccios, Nuccios is a camellia breeder, and he has some of the most wonderful and beautiful camellias, and he's planning on retiring in a couple of years. So a lot of his camellias will never have access to, and he lives down in Southern California, and unfortunately his home and the office was burned in the wildfires, but the fields of the camellias were not burned, which is, so sad for him. But thankfully a lot of his camellias, that was his life work, didn't burn and just disappear, because those are the only ones, other than the ones that people have in their gardens. But the problem is that they have no water, and so there's no way for him to water his camellias. So everybody's worried about Nuccio's camellias, and I know even my local garden center called me asking, like, do you have a contact number? I think everybody's kind of like coming to help him. So I don't know how we can help. I don't know what to do other than, just keep them in our thoughts. So this is a Pearl Maxwell Camellia from Nuccio Camellias. It's about to bloom, and I'm really excited about it. So coming this way, this is over the side of the fence where I have all my ballet slipper hibiscus planted. I am planning to cut these back in a couple weeks. And then there's going to be nothing here, which is going to be tough. But what I did plant is I did plant apricot foxgloves. I have the little seeds in there. And then I actually also came out here and spread Verbena bonariensis. And it's so funny because I promised myself that I would never, ever, ever, ever do that, because Verbena bonariensis grows really, really well here, and it will spread everywhere. And so when Jason and I lived in our last property, which was like a tenth of an acre, it was less than a quarter acre. It was very small, and it was very filled with plants. And so I could not have a plant like Verbena bonariensis in my garden, because it took over. I was pulling those seedlings forever. But in a moment of weakness, I decided to I just took a packet of seeds and I just spread them over here. I don't know if they're going to take, because I thought that we were going to get a little bit more rain, but I've come over here and I've watered them a couple times. So we'll see what happens, but won't that be beautiful if it's apricot foxgloves and purple Verbena bonariensis, which is very airy, and it would just be beautiful. So let's all cross our fingers for that those take. I could start them from seed indoors, and I have done that before, but those seeds are kind of hard to start because you have to put them on the heat mat and then take them off the heat mat at night and on, and I don't know, but it's really hard. It's really easy just to kind of spread it just like this. So hopefully they'll take. Okay, and then coming over to my raised beds, I did want to point out my mushroom infestation. It's not a bad thing, right? I just want to point this out because I wasn't aware of, when I started gardening, I wasn't aware of what these little guys were, and I thought I had like a fungus problem in my garden or something like that. What these guys are called, these are called pig ear mushrooms or fungus or common brown cup. I think that's what they're called. Anyway, they are really commonly found in North America, and they grow on decomposing soil. And so that's actually a really good thing. It shows that your soil is alive and it's decomposing, and it's really great. And we get these a lot during this time because we get the rain. You'll see the fruiting bodies during the early spring, and they're nothing to worry about, basically, is what I want to say to you all. And if you notice something like this, I learned from Eileen from Van Winden's that if you see a fungus or a mushroom on the soil, that's a good thing. If you see a fungus or a mushroom on your plant, on the stem of your plant, that's a bad thing. And so that's a problem that you actually want to take care of. But anything on your soil is perfectly fine. Okay, and then coming back here, you can see that we finally got our Hortonova netting up. This netting right here is called Hortonova netting, and it's kind of a plastic netting that's really commonly used in gardening, like for flower farmers or for veggie gardeners. You can put it horizontally to have the plants grow up and through it so that they don't fall over, or you can put it vertically like I did. And I have my sweet peas growing up here, and we just put some T-posts in the ground right here, and it's really frustrating because I know you guys know I've been talking about the history of this back garden. This back garden had like full landscape 2 owners ago, not the people that we bought the house from, but the people before that. And they had pathways, they had patios, they had rocks absolutely everywhere. They had pavers everywhere. And then the last people who lived here took it all out. Well, they didn't even take it out. They basically just covered it up. So we keep finding things in the back garden, and it's kind of frustrating because we'll be digging somewhere and then all of a sudden it'll be like rock hard, right? And we're like, oh, it's more pavers or something like that, and there's just no way to know. And so the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because that's why this T-post, I couldn't get it down, and so I asked Jason to come out here and use his muscle to get it down, and he finally dug down, and there's pavers underneath this raised bed, is it right?
Yep. Yeah. So exactly. You got to go through the raised bed dirt and compost, and then another, 6 to 12 inches under that, there's a layer of pavers.
Like, are we going to have to completely dig down and redo this whole backyard?
I think we can work around it. I mean, we had to dig out that post behind you.
Yeah.
When we put that in, I had to dig out. I should have known. I didn't even think about it, but I had to dig out a bunch of pavers right there because the pathway runs right through that area.
Yeah.
And then so I should have known that's only a couple feet away where that T-post is.
Yeah.
It took me a minute to figure it out. But yeah. So
Boy.
that pathway, it's tough because the pathways that were here, they run it they're pretty. They run it like curves and turns. They're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like they were straight. So it's hard to predict exactly where they're going to go next.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just kind of a tough thing. These beds are what are called no-till beds or in-ground beds. And so basically my goal is to have the plants grow down into the native soil. But now that I know what's in my native soil back here, I'm debating about just converting it all to raised beds.
Just do true raised beds with a solid bottom on it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And just not even worry about it anymore, and just put, nice high raised beds like the Vigo beds over there, just because we have so much junk underneath the soil here. It's
that's a good point.
It might just not be worth it to try and, work around it.
It's going to be inconsistent because some of it will do what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then some of it won't, and it'll be hard to predict which is going to be which.
Yeah. So, that's not a project for this year, but, when you told me that this couldn't go down because there was a bunch of pavers underneath, and he didn't want to take them out, obviously, because there's sweet peas planted there, it was like, God, okay, great. And you can kind of see that if you look over here. If you look at my beautiful breath of heaven over here on this side, that's growing beautifully. It's like tripled in size. That's called Sunset Gold Coleonema. It's a beautiful, beautiful plant. I love them. I have planted them in my front garden. And that one is supposed to match another one over on this side over here, and you can see what happened to this one, and we are pretty sure that is because there's concrete or pavers or something underneath this one. This is actually the second one, number 2, because we killed the first one last year, and then this one we replanted, and then it's died again.
Yeah. If you look at the old pictures, I'm pretty sure there's a pathway going right through there. In fact, I think this pathway that was...
I think it goes like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this pathway that is right there, pretty sure that just sort of winds its way and ends up right there.
Yeah. Hold on, I have to cough. Yeah, so you can see the limitations that we have. And I'm kind of at the point now where I think I'm just going to like work with those limitations and not try and fight it anymore, because I don't want to get a third breath of heaven for right here, you know?
So I can dig that out. It wouldn't take that much. I mean, if we're talking about just spots, like the plants, like the shrubs like that need a deeper, need their roots to go deeper.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard to dig out a 3-foot area of pavers.
But remember, we had the Supertunia Vista bubblegums. They were doing great over here.
But those are shallower annuals.
I know. And so that's what I'm thinking is maybe I'll just plant those type of plants instead of shrubs, right? Like drought-tolerant shrubs that have long, big roots.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
So I'll just kind of work around it. I mean,
I'm just saying I could dig it out if
until you get free time on your hands and you can, because you have nothing else to do, Jace. Okay, so then I wanted to take you guys into my greenhouse, because my greenhouse is looking pretty good. Well, don't look at the floor, but come on in. This greenhouse this year, my goal is to fill it with as bunch of greenery as I possibly could. And I feel like I'm slacking a little bit. I could be adding more stuff in, but I'm getting started over here with my tomatoes. So over here in this raised bed here, I have my tomatoes that I'm actually growing with these oyas. And these oyas are these porous clay pots that you bury into the soil, and these are filled with water. And this is actually what's watering the tomatoes and the Thunbergia right here. And I have to say, these are gold. These are so incredible. When I was sick, I did not come out here. I didn't water anything. I had seedlings that I didn't water and they died, but these are so incredibly happy. They're getting just the right amount of water. I don't have to worry about it because it's the pull, the osmosis that's regulating how much water these tomato plants are getting. So they're not getting overwatered and they're not getting underwatered, which is really important, especially, when I'm trying to grow tomatoes in the dead of winter. So I'm really, really excited about how they look. I'm going to be training them up this twine right here. And hopefully we can get some fruit. And then over here, I just have some houseplants, some coleus that I'm overwintering, some gorgeous geranium, zonal geranium that's starting to bloom. It's just looking absolutely beautiful. And I'm planning to add to this, more to this once I can get out here a little bit more. One thing I do have to say, one benefit of being sick and being forced to slow down is that it gave me a lot of time to do lots of planning. I did planning over the break when Jason and I took a week off over Christmas, but a lot of that was like family time and relaxing and stuff like that. And now this was just like forced, like you're not doing anything. And so my brain was just like, going a million miles a minute thinking. And so I have a whole planting plan actually for the whole garden, but what I'm going to plant around the greenhouse this year, and I'm super, super excited about it, and I cannot wait to show you guys. And I think it's going to be okay with the soil back here. We'll wait and see, but I can't wait to share that with all of you. So come on over here. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys my Vigo beds because things are growing really well in these. I'm really, really happy with them. First of all, I have my romaine. I've been growing this romaine here since the fall, and we've been picking off of this all the time. Not only my family, but the chickens and the bunnies have been enjoying it. And I've just been going through and I've been picking off the outer leaves just so that we could save the heads and let them keep growing. I think a couple of them are about done, but I have some smaller ones that will, come up and we can keep picking off of those. So I'm not a huge veggie gardener, but I'm finding the veggies that we actually eat and we actually really, really enjoy. And tomatoes, obviously, and then romaine during the cooler seasons. We can pretty much grow romaine year round, except for in the really, really hot parts of summer. This is one crop that I think that I will always grow because we absolutely love it. And then right next to that over here, I wanted to show you what I call my fancy ranunculus. So this year I invested in really nice ranunculus corms. So what I'm saying is these ranunculus corms were purchased from a flower farmer that specializes in growing ranunculus. And this would be opposed to, like, I usually get my ranunculus from like Costco, which are great. They're fabulous. But there's a huge difference between those and these. Come look over here. Of course, the different varieties are going to grow a little bit different. These are labelles. These are the French ranunculus, and you can see they're a little bit smaller than these bonbons right here. Look at how, I mean, like, look at the size of these ranunculus plants.
Yeah, these are huge. These are way bigger than anything I've seen before,
right?
That we've grown.
Compared to all the other ranunculus that we've grown. I'm just super, super excited about seeing how they do. And we're still in January even right now. So I'm excited to see how they do. We get so hot so quick here in Northern California that we have to plant our ranunculus in the fall. And so that's why they're already planted here for me, because we basically time out on ranunculus, because once it hits a certain level, the ranunculus just suffer and they just stop blooming. And so I'm really, really optimistic about this ranunculus. I can't wait to see how it does. One more thing I want to show you is coming over here. This is a plant that I really should have in my blooming garden, my monthly blooming garden. This is a flowering maple, and this variety is called Victorian Lady, and it is so beautiful. Can you come get a close-up of the bloom? It's been blooming absolutely all winter long. I've completely neglected it, not done anything to it, and it is just happy as a clam right here. It is, I have my Chinese pistache tree here, which is obviously deciduous. So it is getting some weak winter sun, but during the summer, it was pretty much shade, kind of like a dappled shade. And it's been so very happy. And so I think I planted it here as just a temporary, like a holding space, but I'm so happy with it. I started training it to go up and over this arch right here. Obviously, it's not going to come down the other side, but I'm just so happy with this plant because it just keeps blooming, keeps blooming, keeps blooming. So Victorian Lady flowering maple, and it is just absolutely beautiful. Okay, and then finally I'll show you all how my evergreens are doing. I ended up planting a whole bunch of evergreens in pots in front of my office and around the hot tub. I'll show you that in a minute, just because I really wanted something right in front of the office. I didn't want it to be blank. I'm so used to having a bunch of stuff here in front of the office, and I'm really happy it's looking really, really good. Even my Norfolk pine, which is technically only hardy to zone 10, is perfectly happy. I've been watching it closely, and it's been totally fine. Coming over here, I wanted to show you guys in front of the hot tub. This is our wood-fired hot tub from Goodland, and I love it. And we planted some more evergreens. I have the thuya right here. I have my rosemary cone right here. I have a boxwood. These are all living Christmas trees that I got from a big box store, and they were on sale because, you know, the Christmas season was almost over, and so I snagged them. So now I have all these beautiful topiaries. So I'm not going to leave them here. This is not their final resting place, but I can at least really enjoy their evergreen nature while they're here. As I'm standing here, I still haven't pruned that rose. I have to do that. I have so much to do. So I'm still really enjoying the evergreen, even the evergreen rose. It still has foliage on it that needs to be defoliated. I'm fine. It's still January. It's still Rose Month technically for me. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this. I want to say thank you for all the well wishes and for your patience, right? For me not being on camera last week. I really needed the time to rest. I was trying to push it, and Jason just looked at me and said, no, and he was right. Like, I just needed to sleep, and this is all I'm doing today, and then I'm just gonna go relax after this. So huge thank you for bearing with me. I hope you all are staying healthy, and I hope those of you who are dealing with the wildfires down south are staying safe. My heart is breaking for all of you. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.